In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about Boolean and also operators. If you want to learn more about Python and other programming languages, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it. It will be a great support. Let's begin. Well, sometimes in programming, you need to know if an expression is true or false. Booleans show whether an expression is true or false. When you want to compare two values, the expression is evaluated and actually the result is a Boolean answer. For example, print 10 greater than 9, and I expect the answer to be true. Okay, as you see here, the result is true. When you run a condition in if statement, Python returns true or false. Suppose x equals to 7 and y equals to 8. And then if, for example, x is greater than y, I want to print x is greater than y, or else y is greater than x. Let's run it. Okay, as you see here, y is greater than x because, sorry, I made a mistake here. Okay, y is greater than x because x equals to 7 and y equals to 8. And as you see here, this statement returns a value which is true or false. And because here x is lower than y, it actually returns false, and it doesn't enter this block of code, and it instead of that execute this line which is inside else block. There's a built-in function in Python which is a bool, and you can actually evaluate any value, and that function returns true or false. For example, let's print, let's use bool, and then you can actually enter a value here. For example, I enter 8, and it actually returns true because this bool function returns either true or false. And now because 8 here is actually greater than 0, it will return true. Okay, let's see what values are true and what values are false. Almost everything is true except some actually exceptions. For example, all numbers are true if you put them inside bool function. All of them are true but 0. Let's see, print. I show you how to actually evaluate 8, and I want to now evaluate a 0 to see that it actually returns false. As you see here, it returns false. This is for numbers, and for lists, for dictionary, and for string, all of them are true except those that are empty. For example, let's evaluate a string, print bool, and for example welcome, and actually it returns true. And if I delete this one and give an empty string as an input to bool function, it returns false. Actually, as I told you, there are not many values that are evaluated to false. There are some like empty string, empty parentheses, empty curly bracket, empty square bracket, and number 0, and also none. They are all actually evaluated to false. Let's see, for example, print bool, and I'm gonna give none as an input, and you see it returns false. And let's give empty parentheses, and again it returns false. And if I actually give empty square bracket, it also returns, oh, I made a mistake, it also returns false. There are also other functions that you can set and they return false. You can write your own function with your own actually purpose. And since I'm not talking about functions right now, I'll tell you about functions later in later episodes. But I think that's enough for now. Now you know what are actually evaluated to false and what are evaluated to true. Let's talk about operators. There are some groups of operators that are listed here. I'm going to talk about 6 group of operators, and we will discuss one by one what are these and actually what operators are included in these groups. Okay, the first group is Python arithmetic operators. That includes addition, subtraction, multiplication, and other operators. I'll give you an example for each of them. Suppose we have a variable like x equals to 5 and also y equals to, for example, 8. And then I want to evaluate each of these operators and see the result. For example, for addition, I want to print the addition of x and y. I use plus as an operator. And if I run it, you see 13 is printed. This is the result of this addition. And for example, for subtraction, we can use an example like y minus x. And then if you run it, you see 3 is printed here. This is the result of this operation. Okay, let's see what is multiplication is. Let's see an example. Print x multiply to y, and the result is 40. And we also have division. Okay, the division of y and x, the result is 1. If I change x to, for example, 2, the result will be 4. You see, 4 is right here. Okay, another operator is modulus. If you want to see the remainder of two numbers, the division of actually two numbers, you can use modulus. Let's print the modulus of y and x, and the result will be 0. That's it. You can also use exponentiation. Actually, the left value to power of the right value will be actually the result of exponentiation. For example, print y and x here. As you see here, the left value, which is y, will be the power of x. Okay, and we expect the result to be 64. And this is 64. Actually, this means that y multiply to y. This is actually the meaning of this one, because x is equal to 2. And if x is equal to 3, it will be actually y multiply to y and again multiply to y. And the last one is floor division. This is the symbol of floor division, and we can see an example. Print y and use floor division and x, and as you see, the result will be 4. Okay, now let's talk about Python assignment operators. You see these operators before, which is actually equal. For example, x equals to 3. This is actually the use of this operator, which means actually 3 is assigned to x. And you can use this one, plus and equals. This means that actually x, let's write it, plus equals to 3. This means that the previous amount of x is actually adding with 3, and the result will be stored in x again. Okay, we can see an example here. Now if I run it, first I assign 3 to x, and the previous amount of x, which is 3, when you reach this line, will be added to 3, and the result, which is 6, will be assigned to x. And if I print this, which is actually the same meaning as this one, let me comment this like this: x equals to x plus 3. Okay, this statement and this one are the same. Okay, if I print this to see the result, as you see here, 6 is printed. Okay, let's see the next one. X minus equals to 3, which actually means that x equals to x minus 3. The previous amount of x minus 3 will be stored in x, okay, and the result will be printed. X, and let's set a value as a previous value for x. For example, x equals to 10, and we expect the result to be 7. Okay, 7 is right here. Okay, and the next one, use store and equal. I actually initialize x to, for example, 10, and then I'm going to use x store and equals, for example, 2. This means that the previous amount of x will be actually multiplied by 2, and the result will be storing x again. Okay, 20 is right here. Okay, in order to save the time, I'll write all of them and I'll show you one by one. Okay, now let's continue. We have a backslash and equal. If you use that, it means that the previous amount of x actually is divided by 2, and the result will be stored in x. Okay, let's comment these prints. Okay, now if I run it, you see 5 is here. Let's comment this one. Okay, if I run it again, you see 5 is here because now 10 is divided by 2 and the result is stored in x. Okay, let's see the next one. It is actually percent plus equals. It actually store the remainder of the division of x and 2, and it actually returns the result and store it to x. Okay, and let's see the result here. We expect this to be 0 because the division of 10 and 2, the remainder of this operation will be 0. Okay, if I change 10 to, for example, 11, I expect it to be 1. Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's see the next one. It actually use 2 backslashes and 1 equal. It returns the result of the floor division of x and 2, and the result will be stored in x again. And so let's run it to see the result. The result is 5. Okay, the next one, 2 stars. 2 stars and 1 equal. This is actually showing the initial value of x power to 2, and the result is stored to x. So the result will be 100 because the initial value of x is 10 and it is power to 2, and the result will be 100 and it is stored in x. So the result, which is x, is 100. Okay, let's talk about another group of operators, which is Python comparison operators. In this group, for example, the first one is equal. It actually evaluates the right side and the left side of this operator, and if both of them are the same, actually the amount of them are the same, so it will return true, and if it is not, it returns false. Let's see, for example, print, and if 7 equals to, for example, 7, it actually returns true because both sides, here 7 and here is 7, so both of them are 7. And here if I change it to 8, you see it will return false because the amount, the values are not the same. But here, if both of them are not the same, so it will return true for this one, not equal. Let's see, print, and if I write, for example, 8 and 7 again, it actually returns true because they are not the same. So if they are not the same, it returns true. As you see here, it returns true. Let's comment this and run it again. True is here. And the next one, it actually check if the right side is lower than the left side, or in another word, the left side is greater than the right side, so it will return true. Print, for example, 8 and again 7. If 8 is greater than 7, it will return true, which is right. Okay. And the next one, less than. So it actually works as greater than, but in this one, if the right side is greater than the left side, it will return true. In here, the left side is greater than the right side. Let's change the operator. Okay, now if I run it, you see the false, because 8 is not less than 7, and the two of the remainings, which are greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, are the same as greater than or less than, and the only difference is that it also checks whether they are equals or not. For example, if I use print 8 greater or equal to 7, it will return true. Let's comment this one. Okay, it returns true. And if I change 7 to, for example, 8, it also returns true, because 8 is equal to 8. And for the last one, you can also use this one. Okay, and in here it also again returns true. Let's comment this, and it returns true. And if I change it to, for example, 5, it also returns true, because in here 5 is lower than 8. Okay, the next group is Python logical operators. The first one is and in here, in actually right side and left side of and, we have two statements, and if both of them are true, actually it returns true, and if one of them is false, it will return false. Let's see, for example, I write print, and for example I say 8 is greater than 7 and 8 is greater than for example 5. So 8 is greater than 5 is true, and 8 is greater than 7 is also true, so the result will be true. Okay, and if I change them, for example change one of them, if I change it to 3, and if I say 3 is greater than 7 and 8 is greater than 5, so in here this one is false and the right one is also true. So if one of them is actually false, the result will be false. Okay, the result is false. However, in this one, which is or, let's see, print, for example, if I comment this one and use this statement, okay, here, as you see, as I write here, it actually returns true if one of these statements is true. So if the left one is true or the right one, the result will be true. Sorry, I have to change it to or. Okay, the result is true. The only way that result is false is both of them are false. For example, this one is false, and if I change it to, for example, 0, 0 is not greater than 5, so this one is false, and 3 is not greater than 7, so it is false, and the result will be false because both of them are, both statements are false. Okay, we have another keyword which is not, and actually it reverses the result. And for example, if the result is false, it will change it to true, and if it is true, it will change it to false. For example, in this actual example, as we saw, the result was false. Okay, let's try it. It is false. Okay, and if I change this statement to not and this statement, okay, and I added not, and okay, here you see the result of this one is false, and here I have not, and it will change it to true, so the result will be true. Okay, not will just change the result. Okay, let's talk about the next group, Python identity operators. This is a very important concept. You have to pay utmost attention to this. Okay, for example, here I have actually a list like two names, like Alex and Sarah. Okay, and then I want to write another a variable like y, it actually also equals to this content, and I want to use a equals to x. Okay, now I want to print x is a. Okay, let's see the result. It is true because I'm here assigning x to a, so this statement is true. Okay, they are both the same because I am assigning x to a. But here, as you see, x and y have the same content, and let's see the result of x is y. Okay, it is false. As you see here, both of them has actually the same content. However, they are not the same objects. Okay, they are just separate objects but same content. Okay, now I want to show you another thing. Print x equals to y. Okay, I want to tell you the differences between these two prints. I feel that you are a bit confused. As you see here, in this one, it is actually evaluating whether x and y has the same content, but in this one, it is actually evaluating whether they are the same objects. Okay, so if I run it, I'm expecting that the first one will be false and the second one is true because the contents are the same. So as you see here, it is true. And we have is not, and it is working as the not before. It will actually change this the true to false and the false to true. It will be true if they are not the same object. It will be false if they are actually the same objects. For example, if I write print x is not y, it will be true because x is not really y. They have the same content, but they are not actually the same objects. Okay, it will be true because we have not here. Okay, the last one, I'm going to talk about Python and membership operators. We talked about this one before, but I wanted to actually unite all of them and talk about all of them together. It will actually be organized in your mind. So let's talk about this one again. And in here, suppose we have two strings. For example, x is welcome, and I want this one to be a string of just one character like w, and I want to check whether w is in x or not. I say y in x, it will actually check whether w is actually inside welcome or not, and if I run it, it is true because w is in this string. As you see here, in returns true if a sequence with the specified value is present in the object. Okay, and not in will return true if that actually sequence is not available in our string or in our object. For example, let's copy this one and use a not. Okay, in here it will return a false because we have a w in welcome. As you see here, it's false, and if I change it to, for example, another string like re, it will actually return true because this string, this sequence is not available in this variable. Okay, here is the end of this session. I hope it was useful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments. I'll reach you as soon as possible. If you want to learn more about Python and other programming languages, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed the video, please like it. Bye for now.